If a baby boomer or a person from Gen X is going to make a take about millennials, 9 times out of 10 it's going to be egregiously wrong. We're going to add in Gen Z because they're, getting older, making their takes, and theirs is going to be wrong as well, but from a different point of view. If you are actually a millennial, you understand that we've essentially been blamed for everything what baby boomers are responsible for, what Gen X may be responsible for. They're the forgotten generation, and they half the time want to be ignored, but then always saying how they want to be ignored. So how you ignored if you always talking about what you want to be ignored. And now, we're still being blamed for stuff that Gen Z is doing because we've been perpetually children since forever, and the oldest of us are in our 40s, so we're just blamed for everything. Avocado toast, not buying homes even though we didn't have the salaries, not going on vacations. If only we stopped buying Starbucks, then we could be rich. And even when we first started being called millennials, because I genuinely miss when we were called Generation Y, and I vibed with a lot of the Generation Y articles, and then once they started talking about millennials, I'm like, they're not talking about me. But also, I felt like sometimes I would read the article and they were talking about my freshman year roommate, and obviously we were the same age. So I just was like, oh, maybe I'm just not the most millennial-iest millennial. People will always comment about how Gen X is the last generation to do all these things. And my oldest sister is Gen X. My oldest sister just turned 50. Both of our parents are baby boomers. Do you think we grew up in a categorically different household? Particularly when you consider that as more children are born, they get more and more forgotten. Like, you try your hardest with your first child, but then once you get that second, third, fourth child, you just give up. So you think that being born by baby boomer parents, that I had an overwhelmingly different experience. And then you add in me being a girl. So I do have 2 stepbrothers, but they're not a part of this setup. But like, I have my oldest sister. I have another sister who we have different moms. So she lived with her mom. But then I have an older brother who is special needs. I have a twin brother. And then it's me. And so technically I'm the youngest because I'm 1 minute younger, C-section. But as soon as my sister got married and left the house, who do you think had to take care of my siblings? A special needs sibling and a twin brother? Do you think my twin brother was as mature as I was growing up? So I'm a 9-year-old. When I finally asked my mom, can we stop going to church every day? We stay home, but who's making the meals? The youngest child in the house. Who was also latchkey kids? Elder millennials. Like, I just genuinely don't understand why Gen X thinks at least elder millennials had like a totally different experience. I follow Gen X accounts on social media and silent protests because 7 to 8 times out of 10, whatever they're talking about, I experienced. And I don't comment, but I'm just like, y'all think y'all are so different. And then now you have people on threads who are arguing about, oh, which artist is who artist? Oh, y'all are more Mary J. Blige and then Usher. Nah, that's Gen X. All this stuff. And it's just like, do y'all not comprehend that multiple generations can enjoy artists at the same time? Just because you enjoyed an artist while you were fully 20 years old in the club doesn't mean my teenager self didn't also enjoy the artist, or didn't mean that my 10-year-old self didn't enjoy the artist. Additionally, I was arguing with this dude on Threads because it's just like, so do you not listen to soul music? Do you not listen to classical music? Because like, the thought that every piece of music you had to personally interact with, but there are many genres of music that existed before all of us on this earth currently were born, but we still are able to enjoy it. Like, none of y'all are operating on logic. And that's my biggest gripe. The fact that multiple generations can enjoy something at the exact same time. They're not saying that like a 10-year-old who was enjoying Michael Jackson is the same as the 25-year-old who was able to afford to go to the concert by themselves is having the exact same experience, but they're both experiencing Michael Jackson. Just because I was in 10th grade when 9/11 happened doesn't mean it was any less meaningful than the person who was in the office watching the planes run into the dang on buildings. When Gen Z has their takes, now elder Gen Z are going to have some points being made when any millennials try to say that they didn't have the same experience as millennials did, because the same way younger Gen X and some of older Gen X had the same experience as millennials, in my personal opinion, it's the same way millennials and elder Gen Z are having the same experience. So I'm not debating that. But for some of them, it's the arrogance for me. It's them Googling something and then telling me, somebody who experienced it, what was the truth. Like in the comment section on TikTok, there was this person talking about digital whiteboards and like, oh, well, digital whiteboards were available in this year, so millennials should have known that you could change the back of the screen to look like a chalkboard. And it's just like, just because you Googled when were digital whiteboards created doesn't mean they were widely available. First, a lot of things are created for military use. Not saying digital whiteboards, but a lot of things that we have access to was created for the military first. And then rich people got it. And then it became normalized. I remember when I graduated from college in 2008 and moved to New Orleans and became a Digital Opportunity Trust intern, my mission was to help teachers integrate technology into their classroom. That was the first time I've ever seen a Promethean board. I didn't even have Promethean boards in college. And I went to an Institute of Technology. So the fact that Gen Z would just be arrogant enough to be like, oh, let me chat GPT this or let me Google this and then debate the person who was alive, that's where their critique is going to come from. They're also the ones having 90s and 2000s parties, and when you tell them we weren't wearing that in the 90s and 2000s, they'll debate you and tell you were wrong, even though they were your clothes. So, yeah. I feel like millennials are going to be misunderstood until we leave this earth, and we're prepared for it. We've been prepared for disappointment our entire lives.